I rise today to introduce as legislation President Trump's executive order for the most favored nation status on drug pricing. My legislation will codify President Trump's executive order, which basically says that Americans should not pay more for drugs than people in other countries and other parts of the world. Right now, we're paying 2 to 3 times more for our drugs than people in other industrialized nations. Now, this executive order, codified by the legislation, will allow our cabinet secretaries to put pressure on big pharma and make sure that they are not price gouging, and will allow for the importation of cheaper drugs. So you ask, why do we need the legislation? Because the reality is that big pharma will sue for the executive order like they did in the previous Trump administration. And in the previous administration, they managed to kill the executive order. The only way we can stand up to big pharma is to codify in legislation what the president wants to do in an executive order. So here's the deal. If I can cross the aisle and support President Trump's executive order in legislation, every Republican should be willing to cross the aisle and support my legislation. It's a pretty simple test. Are we going to stand in this body with the $16 billion that Big Pharma spent on lobbying? Or are we going to stand with the American people? We will know that answer based on how many co-sponsors we get for my legislation that simply codifies Donald Trump's executive order.